I'm Michael Friday.
And I'm Jenna McGlin. Here's what's coming up next on Panthervision.
What's a dairy farmer
But I think they need to step it up.
have to do with safety at UWM?
Did you vote last semester? It turns out your vote didn't count.
That I have a responsibility to all of the students on campus.
We'll explain.
You walk past it, dodge it, and avoid it. But do you know what it is all about? They may not be singing in the rain, but they sure are playing in harmony. We'll introduce you to the red-hot men's soccer team.
From the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, this is UWM Panthervision. A weekly newscast reported, written, and produced by students in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication. And now, the news.
Good evening. A major change is in the works on how you receive emergency information.
Panthervision has learned that the Safe Alert program will be changed to an opt-out system. The word comes as UWM police set up a booth so students could sign up to receive text messages and emails about emergency situations. Since the Safe Alert system was established, students needed to sign up for the program, but participation has been quite low. That's now going to change.
There are plans in the work to have everybody signed up automatically for the Safe Alerts. They will automatically be signed up, and they can opt out if they want to.
The change comes on the heels of a Panthervision investigation revealing some holes in the UWM's preparedness for an active shooter situation. Panthervision reporter Chris Bernheim has a follow-up story.
ACU Rosh is just a freshman.
I call this meeting to order.
But she's already trying to make a difference at UWM.
I personally would like to see this committee being a lot more active.
Rosh is the new chair of the Student Association Safety Committee. After seeing our investigation, she says she's going to push for changes.
What I would do with this committee, or what I would try to do, is work with the university, get that to be an opt-out.
She's talking about the UWM Safe Alert system, which sends emergency messages to cell phones.
So how many of you are signed up for the UWM Safe Alert system? 1, 2, 3, 4.
As we reported, less than a third of UWM students have signed up to receive those alerts. But schools using an opt-out system, meaning you are automatically signed up to receive alerts, have participation rates near 100%.
These incoming freshmen would be opt-out, the next incoming freshman would be opt-out, and so on and so on and so on, until we get that number up to 99%, 98%, 95% over the next 5 years.
Well, when your kids are involved, you always think safety is the number one issue.
Lee Schlenbolt is a dairy farmer in Ozaukee County. One of his daughters goes to UWM. He says some changes need to be made.
But I think they need to step it up as far as getting the opt-out program started, and also the locks on the doors. Those are two simple procedures that could be done. And it should be done ASAP.
It locks from the inside. Oh, not this one.
As we reported, many classroom doors only lock from the outside. In an active shooter situation, that means instructors would have to go into the hallway to lock the door, if they even have a key. But some doors lock with the push of a button.
And it's some simple procedures of putting push-button locks on doors. The maintenance staff could take care of that. That's really pretty simple.
38 buildings and all the other.
Police Captain Greg Habbick says that's something the university will look into.
And if there's opportunities to look at the locking mechanisms on doors and create a fix that would resolve an issue like that, that's something that the university, I think, would look at.
Attention, lockdown drill. Secure all doors and windows.
Some other schools, including MATC, have lockdown drills, but not UWM. Habbick says there's a reason for that.
If you're in a facility and there's an active shooter going on and you have a means of egress, the first thing you want to do is get out of the building. And we don't know that we want to overemphasize people defaulting to staying in a building and locking themselves in, where potentially the danger is.
I know there's a good security force there, and they'd try their best and everything else. But I don't know the level of safety, but I know it could be made safer. And I think that's the goal that we have to strive for, is to make it safer.
In Port Washington, I'm Chris Verheyen for Panthervision.
Casey Rush is no longer the head of the Student Association Safety Committee because the SA has been disbanded. More about that story coming up in a few minutes.
UW-Madison officials say they are moving to an opt-out text alert system. Madison had to use its system last month when shots were fired during a robbery near campus. The alert told students in the neighborhood to stay indoors. No one was injured, and 2 suspects were arrested. By switching to opt-out alert systems, UW-Madison and Milwaukee will join 2 other universities in the state system. UW-Platteville and UW-Stevens Point both have opt-out text alert systems, and their participation rates are close to 100%. UW-Platteville's public information officer tells us they've only had 6 people opt out this semester. The UW system schools we surveyed with opt-in systems only have about a 30% participation rate.
Being alerted to an active shooter situation is one thing. Knowing what to do is quite another. A UWM alum found himself caught right in the middle of the Navy Yard shooting in Washington, D.C. last month. Aaron Norlow joins us now with that story. Aaron?
John Monroe is a former UWM graduate student who works in corporate communications. He works in the Navy Yard and is still suffering from the trauma that comes when a mass murderer walks into an office.
It was at that time that we heard somebody on the 4th floor yell, "Shots fired."
It's a day John Monroe will never forget.
I saw an individual run past, and he had a gun.
In surveillance videos released by the FBI, the shooter stalks the hallways looking for victims. Monroe says leaving the building during the shooting was too risky.
You have to run out into an open space in order to get out of the door because we're on the 2nd floor. So at that point we realized, after we had heard maybe 6 or 7 shots by that time, that we couldn't run out.
John says someone pulled the fire alarm during the incident, adding confusion to the panic.
The fire alarm was giving you a contrary direction, because our fire alarm also has a voice system with it that says, proceed to the nearest exit.
John and a few of his colleagues spent nearly 40 minutes hiding in an office.
All you could hear was gunshots and people screaming.
Then, an even bigger scare.
We then heard banging at our door that we were barricaded in, and they sent police, but we weren't quite sure if we should open the door. We found out that it was the SWAT team. The SWAT team came in, and they immediately drew fire at all of us. And particularly one cop put his gun in my chest, and that's because, unfortunately, I'm an African American and I'm bald, and I fit the description of the shooter.
John verified his identity, and the group was escorted out the building.
Once we got out, I pretty much ran as fast as I could.
John says his building was not necessarily prepared for an active shooter situation.
But not too many people train for what to do in an active shooter situation, so you don't really know what to do during something like that unless you've trained through it and you've gone through some type of scenario, which I think is very important to do.
The event is over, but the trauma isn't.
Situations like this really devastate you beyond what you believe.
In addition to dealing with the emotional trauma, John says he has to deal with some practical matters. He can't get anything in his office, from his keys to his cell phone, because the entire building is still considered a crime scene. Back to you, Michael.
By emergency order, UWM's student government has been disbanded. All election results have been thrown out, and the Student Association is now being run by a board of trustees. Panthervision reporter Dariah Pedersen tells us about the scandal.
Last spring, the UWM administration rejected the Student Association election results, and in a state of emergency, the student court formed the board of trustees. The question on everybody's mind is, why were the election results thrown out?
One of the things were the Independent Election Commission bylaws were not clear and did not provide adequate instruction on how individual students can run for office. The ISA bylaws were not followed.
And the list goes on. Now the topic up for debate is whether or not the university overstepped its authority by getting involved.
But we do have a state right to organize as we see fit. And if there were to be a big brother group, that would call into question if they have oversight power over us, it could change what we do. Does that really mean we have that right?
Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs, Michael LaLiberty, disagrees.
Well, I don't have a right in terms of the law, but I have a responsibility to all of the students on campus to make sure that things are copacetic.
The only thing everyone can seem to agree on is that student involvement is key toward moving the organization forward.
Because you can have the best bylaws in the world, and if you get a horrible group of people involved, then it'll be a disaster regardless. It really is about changing the culture of the student association.
The student court's term is up this spring. If the board can't conduct an election by then, there will be no elected officials left, and the student association will cease to exist.
The hot air balloon?
Yes.
In Milwaukee, I'm Dariah Pedersen for Panthervision.
The elections will be scheduled for some time in April.
Board of Trustees Chair Nick Redinger appeared on the Broadcast Club program Panther Pause this week. He says the Board of Trustees is rewriting the Student Association Constitution and bylaws.
We are currently rewriting our Constitution, so depending on what we put into the Constitution, it might affect the election period a little bit, but it'll be towards the end of the spring semester, as well as then creating a strategic plan for the next 5 years based on what we should be working on, what the students want us to do, so we can pass that on to future essays.
The board will hold a series of listening sessions about the new Constitution and bylaws in November.
This is not the first time there have been problems with student association elections. Problems date back to at least 2007 when there were allegations of missing ballots. In 2008, Election Commissioner Dan Barr kicked the entire opposing party off the ballot, then banned cameras from all polling locations. Several students complained about voter harassment at the polls, and when the Independent Election Commission held an appeals hearing, Barr tried to ban cameras from that too.
Do I have copies? I'm not going to be allowing cameras in this hearing, guys. Sorry.
Why not?
I'm not impressed with your conduct recently. I'm just not going to be allowing it.
We have rights.
I'll call security. Sorry.
This Wisconsin open meeting law. We have any right as any member of the public to be here.
This is the IEC hearing. Okay.
Well, Dan, we have any right to be here. If you want to call someone, go ahead.
You can be here, but I'm not having cameras.
Our reporters and cameras were eventually allowed to stay. 2 years later, in 2010, the Student Association had to reschedule elections after discovering that students could have voted multiple times online.
Despite criticism from lawmakers, the UW Board of Regents is increasing pay ranges for top university officials. Regents say the move is necessary because salaries are well below comparable universities, making it difficult to attract top talent. Some Republican lawmakers are lashing out at the Regents, though. Representative Steve Nass of Whitewater issued a news release saying, quote, "The Board of Regents rolled up their sleeves and made sure the UW system's high-level administrators will be able to easily afford an addition on their summer home or to pay cash for a new Lexus. Pay raises for chancellors averaged 3.3%. Regents say chancellors have not gotten pay raises in 5 years.
It can increase your risk of getting into a wreck by 23 times, but 4 out of 5 college students admit to doing it. A new study by King's College in Pennsylvania shows that 80% of college students have texted while driving. That compares to 50% of adults who admit to texting and driving. Male drivers were found to be more likely to text and drive. Texting and driving causes drivers' reaction times to be slower than drunken driving.
And students at MATC got to learn that firsthand. Matthew Kenner has the story in tonight's MATC report.
MATC's downtown campus. Video games, coffins, at lunchtime. This setup is a distracted driving simulator. The Distracted Driving campaign aims to spread the message that texting and driving is a major hazard. The event has some longevity according to Alan Hensley.
It's been going on for roughly about the last 5 years.
Along with a pretty good turnout.
Usually we have anywhere between 100 and 150 upwards to 200 students each time it's being done. We do it at all the campuses.
Distracted driving is responsible for many casualties.
As far as the age frame from 16 to 24, it's actually 10% of all deaths.
Jasmine Jackson is another student government member assisting.
Texting and driving is extremely dangerous. Do not, I repeat, do not text and drive because it can wait.
The purpose of the simulator is to show students the hazards of texting and driving.
To show you that your brain texting on this simulator and your brain texting in a real car is the exact same process.
Failure on the simulator results in a pretend fatal collision. Behind the actual wheel could be this.
Reporting from MATC's downtown campus, for Panthervision, I'm Matthew Kenner.
Coming up, we'll update you on some improvements being made to our campus.
And Jack Frost is coming early. James Ashcroft will have the weather when we return.
This is where powerful ideas lead to proven results. This is where you belong.
Thanks for watching UWM Panthervision, Judge Best Student Newscast by the Northwest Broadcast News Association. Panthervision is produced by students in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in association with Milwaukee Area Technical College.
Bulldozers, dump trucks, and caution tape are part of the scenery at UWM this semester.
Reporter Callie LeCount digs into what it's all about.
They say that Wisconsin has only 2 seasons, winter and construction. The start of fall semester plunged UWM students in the middle of the biggest facelift the school has seen in years.
I think it's a necessary evil. I'm glad they're doing it.
$250 million worth of evil that Tom Luljak hopes will leave a lasting impression on students.
I think there's going to be a great point of pride with students looking at the campus and see it evolve while they're here. And I think when they leave here, they'll know that they were a part of it, and they'll benefit in part from these buildings.
And UWM isn't all about out with the old and in with the new. They are also taking the steps to preserve some of the more historic buildings on campus.
Once a part of the old Downer College,
and that really adds a lot of historic character to the campus.
Merrill and Holton Hall were built over a century ago.
And they really feel like a college scene that you might see in the movies.
I mean, it was time to update some of the classrooms and the technology.
The list of new additions and renovations seems endless. But Luljak says that the end result will be well worth the wait.
It's going to provide wonderful new facilities for students to study, to learn in, to do research in. Yes, there will be great Wi-Fi systems.
So while we all wait for its completion, construction season continues. And in the meantime, students just keep finding new paths to class. In Milwaukee for Panthervision, I'm Callie LeCount.
A majority of the construction is expected to be completed by spring 2015. None of the construction is being funded by tuition money.
2 UW Stevens Point dorms will be getting a facelift. The State Building Commission has approved more than $13 million to renovate Watson and Thompson halls. The renovations will take about 7 months.
A UWM dorm is getting an award. Earlier this month, the Wisconsin Green Building Alliance recognized Cambridge Commons. The group gave Cambridge an award for energy efficiency. James Ashcroft joins us with a look at our weather now. James, how's it looking?
Hi guys, how are we doing? We've got some very interesting weather for October. We're going to see very cold conditions right now, very cloudy, and you know, most people would think it was maybe December. So if we take a look at today's temperatures, I'll let you know what we'll be expecting. As I said, we can expect very cold conditions this week. We're going to see a lot of cloud. If we get any sun, that will be a miracle. and even there's a potential for snow coming this Tuesday. The current conditions right now are as follows. The temperature is 42 degrees Fahrenheit. We have a dew point of 34, and with Lake Michigan right next door, that bar pressure coming in off the lake is at a standard 29 degrees. As we look forward to tonight and today, we have highs of 43, lows 38, so it's very cold once again. Precipitation, 20%, so you could expect to see a bit of a dew on there in the morning. The lows up in Rylander, we see 28 degrees Fahrenheit. That's not to be outdone by Eau Claire over there in the west. Very cold, very frosty conditions out there tonight. And as we see Milwaukee down here, 30 degrees, so around freezing point. Don't leave any water out there because you'll be drinking ice. If we look at the highs for the week, we have 34 up in Rylander, Eau Claire 41, Madison, the capital, 43. Milwaukee's coming in at 45, so maybe wrap up, put a scarf. If you're going to go to any pumpkin patches, wear some mittens because that'll be coming handy. As we look forward to tonight, though, we'll see cloudy skies, lows of 28, windy conditions coming in off the lake. That's going to cause a bit of a chill, so wrap up warm. Tomorrow is going to be partly cloudy in areas, potential for snow. Bit early in October, I think, but you never know. Santa's doing his rounds early. Wednesday, we've got partly cloudy in areas. Bit of sun might scatter through. Highs of 45, lows of 28. Maybe put on that heating if you're going to stay in the house. As we look forward to the rest of the week, though, we're going to see temperatures of around 43, 45, 48 and 47. Cloudy in most areas. A bit of sun on Saturday, but that's really about it. Not the best week for weather, if you ask me.
A little sorry to hear that, but I'm not that surprised. I'll have to break out my burgundy sweatshirt since I missed the memo today and bundle up.
I know, Callie really put me off there, didn't you? Sorry, Jenna. Wearing the red. So if you're going to carve any pumpkins, make sure you put a Santa hat on.
Absolutely.
All right. After the break, we'll show you a national contender for Soccer Goal of the Week.
And wouldn't you know, it was made by a guy named Good Netter. That and more sports when Panthervision returns.
This is where powerful ideas lead to proven results. This is where you belong.
Thanks for watching UWM Panthervision, judged Best Student Newscast by the Northwest Broadcast News Association. Panthervision is produced by students in the Department of Journalism and Mass Communication in association with Milwaukee Area Technical College.
The men's soccer team is on a roll.
And the volleyball season is underway.
Mike Baccaro is here with sports.
Thanks, guys. The weather may have been grim and wet, but that didn't dampen the UWM men's soccer team's morale. The team has been in good form this season, and as Panthervision's Jenna McGlin found out, it really has been a team effort.
It was just another practice in the rain to some. But to freshman goalie Liam Anderson, this season has been quite a big change.
It's always like, oh my God, where are you from?
Coming from living with his family in New Zealand to the residence halls, Anderson is one of many with a scholarship to UW-Milwaukee. Head coach Chris Kelderman said it's a positive program with a successful history and is rich with tradition.
It's a good environment for the guys to learn from each other, whether it's exploring differences and getting familiar with them with regards to cultures. likings, accents, and everything.
With there being many new players this year, it was a challenge at the beginning of the season to mold the team together on and off the field.
And there's no one here that is sort of a passenger. Everyone plays a role and plays an important role.
Kelderman said there is a great mix within the group, with students from in-state, out-of-state, and international.
We knew that we had something special in our hands.
No one expected the team to be at this point. Captain Lori Bell said there has been a lot of change to the program, but
Look at our record, it's worked out well.
this season the team has come together for a 10-2-1 record. In Milwaukee, I'm Jenna McGlin for Panthervision.
The Panthers are off to their best start since 1985. Their 10-2-1 record has ranked them as high as 24th in the nation. The Panthers host rival Madison this Wednesday night at Engelman Field. Kickoff is at 8 p.m. Da-da-da, da-da-da is what you should be saying after seeing this goal by UWM junior Luke Goodnetter. The right-footed midfielder scored a 32-yard volley with his left foot in the Panthers' 1-0 win over Valparaiso. The shot was named Goal of the Week by the website TopDrawSoccer.com. Goodnetter has started every game for the Panthers this season. He sat out last season because he transferred from Green Bay. After a slow start, the women's volleyball team has started to run away with the regular season crown. The Panthers are 7-0 in Horizon League play and 11-8 overall. Last Friday, the Panthers swept Cleveland State in straight sets. Rachel Newberger led the team with 20 kills. Newberger then led the team on Saturday night in another straight sets win over Youngstown State. She had 15 kills on the night, with Julie Kalinsky adding 13. The girls topped the league standings at the halfway point, with Valparaiso hot on their heels in second place, just one game back. That's it for sports. Back to Jenna and Michael.
The American dream is coming true for 220 people.
That's because they all became naturalized U.S. citizens. Samantha Gritzmacher tells us about the special ceremony held at MATC.
220 people from 64 countries from around the world came to MATC on Friday, October 11, 2013, to the Cooley Auditorium to become citizens of the United States of America. Magistrate Judge Nancy Joseph shared her family's story and explained what being a new citizen means.
Being a citizen also means getting involved in all aspects of our civic life. Being a citizen also means joining in our effort to make our communities and our country better than the way you found it.
After the ceremony, I spoke with a woman who will be enjoying her new rights after living here for 19 years.
It's going to allow me to vote, which is great.
Following what Judge Nancy Joseph stated earlier, some people want to use their newfound freedom to help a great amount of people.
And I'm interested in politics, so maybe I can do something for my country, Tibet.
An instructional chairperson of the English as a Second Language program spoke about how moving the ceremony can be.
It's very emotional. People are renouncing their home countries and taking on allegiance to the United States, and that's a very powerful moment, and it's a very moving one because they make a commitment that they take very seriously.
I'm Samantha Gritzmacher, reporting for MATC. Back to you guys.
Thank you for tuning in for tonight's edition of Panthervision.
You can watch us on Time Warner Channel 14 and AT&T UVerse Channel 99 at 5 o'clock on Wednesdays and Fridays.
Have a great week.